our calculator looks pretty awful on desktop, so we'll fix that today. And then we will also fix some of these colors are wrong. So there's a shortcut to get rid of those, but you. There you go. Okay. So we need to get the delete and the reset key and the equal key all set up. And then I think most of the rest of it is okay-ish. Let me show you one thing on here. If you open your inspector, up next to the arrow is this little phone thing. If you click that toggle, then you can choose any kind of device you want to. There's also, if you hit edit, there's a whole list of devices that aren't included, and you can add your own custom devices. But just clicking that little icon here inside Inspector will put you into this mode. And then when you're building specifically for mobile, it's nice to be able to say, oh, I want to look and see what an iPhone 12 would look like with this. It also uses what? The Galaxy Fold? Yes. Yeah. 280, I wouldn't support that size. So, yeah. Depending on where you work, sometimes you have to support stuff that sucks, but we can see, like, it looks okay-ish on here. If we look at the design, this design is set for 375 by 667. So that would be the SE. And then you can kind of figure out where things should be based on that. Most likely what we'd want to do as well is on iPhone, you'd probably want to push this down so that it doesn't have like no space up here and a ton of space down here. And just center it on the screen. So we'll do that as well. But this also gives you, do you notice how my cursor becomes that little circle? Mm-hmm. That's touch instead of a mouse. So when you're using it like this and you click, you'll get click events, but you'll also get touch events with it. So if you're trying to test to make sure that you care if somebody touches, then you can do that this way. But it's a nice way to kind of be able to have the screen a certain size and not have to feel like you're trying to resize it yourself. So I'll typically kind of push things like this. I'm going to put it back to that SE. You can see I have this EXT. Right now at work I'm making a browser extension. So I'll work in it like this on the extension size because that's the size we're doing our extension. So it's nice to be able to just kind of have that size already. Okay. So let's go ahead and jump into our CSS file. Style CSS. Collapse all these roots. And then at the bottom we have that reset and that equals class already set. We also need to have a delete class. So we threw delete onto, let's throw this over here, get rid of this. So remember up at the top, the delete key right here on line 65 has that delete class. Reset and equals both have a reset and equals class. So we're going to change the background color for these three buttons. So we're going to do background, and then we have a button delete variable for the delete key. And then reset and equal are the same thing. Right? We have a variable for both of those as well. Oops, did the wrong one. Okay. So now if I refresh, it doesn't do anything. Why? Numpad button. Keypad background. Text secondary. Oh, this was the text for it? That's dumb. What did we do as far as the colors? It was key equals, and then key background, and then this was the key background secondary. Okay, so background is going to be our key background secondary for now. It was, yeah, reset was that, and then delete is going to be this one. Yeah, there we go. And then the equals was their background equals. We had something for equals. Key equals. Okay. And then we have color as well. So on equals, that was what the other one was, right? It was button equals. Oops. Yeah. Button equals, and then reset color button reset, and then delete color button delete. And then I also noticed that this delete has a smaller font size, and reset might as well. So we'll go look at that in a second. And we also need to get, is there a weird, there's like a border on these we want to get rid of on the button. So we're going to get rid of border, none. Up on the button class, make sure to add that one. And then I'm going to make sure that this all looks wrong too, this padding. So we'll figure that all out. We're getting closer. Go look at that. Y'all are doing that. Around the edges, and then 13 between. This font size is 20 on delete, and on equal, I'll leave equal as the bigger font size, but and then it's just 20 as well. So on the reset, excuse me. The reset, we're going to do font size 2 rem, and on the delete we'll do font size 2 rem. That'll just give us a little bit more space on those buttons. Looks a little better than having the giant words. the margin here, we want 13 pixels in between all the buttons. I wonder if I can do that by getting rid of the margin and doing a gap instead. Let's try gap again. Oh, too big for some reason. Why is it so big? And this needs to be 24 pixels instead. Say on here we want to do max width, and then let's see what the width was on those buttons. 60 pixels. Let's see what happens. I don't like those. We might just not match the design perfectly on here. Where's that gap?
Do you get rid of the next one?
Yeah. Let's go with 8. Oh, not 18, 8. Look at look at how much is here. 24. I think we had it at what? Do we have it 20? If we do it at 30, 20. Leave it at 20. All right, so I don't like the 24 on here actually. We're just gonna go back to, oops. So I changed the padding on the numpad back to 20 instead of 24. And then so I think 7 looks good. We'll just do 7 for this size, because we also need to add a button shadow, like a box shadow here. So we're gonna add that here on the button. Box shadow is gonna be, I'm gonna need to look up the color of it. So let's see. Inspect rectangle. Let's use hex, 'cause we're not animals. So 0, 4, and then the color. So we'll say 0, 4, 0. 0, and then the color, which is B2A295. Oh, it should be 4 pixels. There we go. Okay, and then we'll need to change these 3 keys to have a different box shadow color. So we'll do, oh, and let's see, this box shadow color probably exists somewhere else, huh? Because this should be a variable. Key shadow, I think is what it's called. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this and I'm going to put it down on these 3 as well, and then change the colors to be delete and reset will be the key shadow secondary. Like that one, and this one. And then this will be key equals shadow. Now I feel like it needs like more padding on the top because the button looks funny. There's like a lot of space here and less space here. Anyway, micro optimizations. It's always fun. Okay. And then need to look at what the sizes are here. I think we have different sizes here. So this is font size 32 and that one is font size 20. So I'm just gonna go look at current output should be 3.2 instead of 4. Previous was already 20, so we're good there. And then 16. So yeah, so I made it 16 on the output. Instead of 20 padding, 16 padding. And then height on that is 88. So min height down to 88 pixels. And like I said, we'll do the toggle later. For now, it'll just be those dots. We can make this work, and then we'll figure out how to put them together. So you can't, the problem with radios is you can't change the way they look. So you have to pretty much hide them and then use something else to click them. So otherwise I could just change them to be the background of the thing and then put a background behind them, and then as you click it, the orange circle is the orange, right? It'd be clunky, but kind of what the design is. But yeah, we'll have to play around with that. So for now, we'll just do this. We will do on the theme switcher color, and then we'll do text secondary, so you can see it. So we'll do that for now, and then we'll fix all this later. We'll probably have to change some of this markup too to do it. So, okay, so that should be all the CSS we need for now. We can start writing JavaScript. Let's just go through what we have. So these three you should already have. We have at the top the star, box sizing, border box. This allows us to have our box sizing be based on everything from the border in. So when I say 30 pixels, from the border in is 30 pixels, right? Okay, so, oh, you know what? I need to switch the font, sorry. Okay, so then HTML here, we've got font size 62.5. That allows us to do rems based on 10 basis. So, right, one rem is 10 pixels. Okay. Body, we're setting the font family to the League Spartan. Font weight 700. Background color is the main background variable. And then we've got calculator padding 20 pixels. Header is display flex, justify content, space between. Okay, that sets up our header in this way. Our logo has the header text color and then the font size. And we should probably change this to be header text instead of text secondary. I forgot we had a header text variable. So the theme switcher up here, color is header text. Okay, the other thing I wanted, well, we'll fix that when we do the theme. So I think this is probably the right amount of space. Oh no, it's not, it's quite a bit. So 30 pixels, 32 pixels. And what are we at? Probably not much. So let's do, on the header, let's also add a margin bottom of 32 pixels. And actually let's do a margin of 30 pixels, auto 32 pixels. Oh, that's way too big. So calculator had 20 on it, so we want this to be 10. Okay, so that gives us the space that's in the style. We may come back and fix that later, but for now that's fine. Okay, so coming down to output, min height is 88 pixels, padding is 16 pixels, border radius 8 pixels, colors the text secondary, text line right, and then background is the screen background. Coming down a little further, we've got the previous output, margin 0, opacity 0.75, and the font size 2 rem. This is the little words or the little numbers. Current output, margin 0, font size 3.2 rem, and then coming down, we've got the numpad, display grid. We use the grid template columns, repeat 4 and 25%. Margin top is 20 pixels. Just to give us the space between the output. Padding around the whole thing, 20 pixels. Border radius is 8 pixels. And then the key pad background for the background color. Buttons got display flex, justify content center, align item center, margin 7 pixels, padding 10 pixels, border none, border radius 8 pixels. Added a box shadow with the key shadow color. It's 0, so box shadow 0 pixels to the right, 4 pixels down, no blur, and no spread. So spread is how far away from the button it is. Okay, so that's what all those numbers are. Color, we've got the text color here for the color of the keys. Font size 3.2 rem, and then text transform uppercase. double check that 3.2 rem is the size for that. Yeah. Okay. So coming down to operators, text transform is lowercase for each of these operators because we were getting some uppercase on the X and that whatnot. Delete key has a different color box shadow. Okay. And then it's got the button delete color. Font size is 2 rem to give it some space in that key. And then the background secondary for the background color. And then we've got the reset key is pretty much the same as the delete key, but it also has this grid column. So it'll take up the first and the second. So it starts at 1 and ends at 3. And then the equals key starts at 3 and ends at 5. So it takes up the third and fourth. And then it's got the box shadow with the equals key shadow color. Otherwise, the shadow's the same. And then it's got button equals for the color and key equals for background. Everybody's got all that?
Mm-hmm.
If you run it, looks right?
Yeah, the TV color.
It doesn't look the same.
Oh yeah, so this is what it looks like on my screen.
Okay. Is that it?
So yeah, don't stress about the color, because we all have the same colors. We're using the variables that I painstakingly wrote. It's the worst. HSL stupid colors. All right, so okay. Now here's where the fun comes in. I'm going to change this from an iPhone to a there should be a laptop on here. We could go iPad Air probably and then turn it into landscape, and you'll see it looks pretty ugh. Okay, so compared to the design for desktop, so let's look at the desktop design. So the desktop design kind of keeps it at a certain width, okay, but also the desktop design has some different sizes on the fonts. So I think the buttons stay the same size, but these fonts get a little bigger. This box gets a little bit bigger. This box gets a little wider. You'll notice the keys get wide instead of completely square. Okay. Let's just make sure that the keys stay the same size. So font size, actually that goes up to 40. And this one goes to 28. This one goes to 54, 32. Okay, so we need to change these just for the desktop. So this will be the first time we get into this. Okay, so at the bottom of our styles, we're going to write styles that are specifically for larger than mobile phone. Okay. So one thing I like to do when I do this is I like to take, so I'm going to get rid of this. You can see it's even worse when I get out here. I like to take the side of my browser and just drag it down. So, or I'll even open up my inspector on the right hand side. Go back to your, it's running on 5502, go back to, oh, this is your clock. So just close this one. Yeah, save it. Sure. Cancel. Never mind. Don't save it. What's happening?
Maybe there's too much going on.
So I think what happened was the calculator and the clock both are open at the same time.
Right.
So let's just close this workspace and not save the workspace. You're not going to lose any code. It's just because it's like, oh, did you? Yeah. So it's just like, oh, did you want to have two of them? So go to your VS Code now. Oh, just go to your file. Open recent. and then do the calculator app. Okay, now hit the go live when it shows up. You can hit later on there.
Oh, okay, there we go. Okay.
So it closed your code because you hit update,
Oh.
which is good. It's good to update it, but
Okay.
you want to go back and open code back up
Okay.
because if you refresh, this will go away. Okay, so I'll take the inspector though and I'll just drag it. And I like to have the inspector open because then you can notice up here when I'm dragging up in the right hand corner here, it'll tell me how wide it is. Okay, and so I'll drag it down and be like, okay, so it looks okay until I don't know, somewhere around 575 is where it starts to look a little funky. Right, and then they just start to pull. So even 500. So we could say anything above 500, and let's see what the width is here. So the width of our output window is 540. So we'll go up to that, but we also have more space. It's 25 pixels in between all of these. So we can start adding some space here. So what we'll do is we'll say around 540 is where we'll stop it. And then we'll add some space in between so that the buttons go a little bit smaller. This is as wide as the calculator will go. Okay, so at the bottom we're gonna do, let's see, before we go to the bottom, go up to the calculator, somewhere around 86-ish, and we're gonna say max width 540 pixels, margin auto. Okay. And that should make it so when we get here, it stays in the center.
Which one is that again?
Calculator.
Let me see. What did you change?
Dot calculator.
Oh, that calculator?
Yeah, go up to like the 80s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right there.
There it is. All right, what did you change?
I added max width 540 and margin auto.
Okay.
540 pixels.
So max auto?
Margin auto.
Margin auto, there you
Max width. Yeah.
go.
Okay. So we got those two, and now it should stop you at here, and it'll stay in the center. Okay. And the other thing we probably want to do is make the body, well, we'll just leave it at the top for now, but we probably want to center it in the middle too. And we can do that either by setting a max height on the calculator, or we can
That's what you
make this part, like make it part of the calculator as opposed to outside, and then we can set the body to display flex. But if we do it now, it'll put these side by side. Yes, we can do, let's see, flex, and then we can do add flex direction, column. So, see, it does like weird crap, so I don't want to fix that right now. So, yeah, we'll just keep it at the top for now. And then, so let's see, let's say, so keep it at the top for now, so we don't have to deal with fixing all that, because we have a bunch of other CSS to write. So at the very bottom, we're going to now add that extra space. So we want the buttons to have, let's just look at it and see. If I switch the margin from 7 to 15 pixels, oops, we'll do it not there, but here. We'll go 10 pixels. Actually, don't mind the look of the 8. So we'll say it's 8. So we're gonna do at media. So this is how we create CSS specific to a screen size. We're gonna say at media, min width, and then min width was 540 pixels. Okay, so anything we put inside this will now have, will only take place when the screen is at least 540 pixels wide. Okay, we'll say dot button margin 8 pixels. We'll say 15 just so you can see it. See here, but you can put 8. And then as I go down and get below 540, watch the buttons all snap together. Okay? So, but I'm going to do 8. I don't want it to snap that much. Just a little bit more space. It'll still change right there. Okay? And then our font size on the buttons was supposed to be 40, so let's see what that looks like. For RAM actually. Okay. And then we need to set the delete and the reset key to smaller because this overrides these ones. Okay. So we'll inside of here then add reset. We'll just add them together because I don't think we'll need more than that. We'll say font size. I think it was 3.2 rem is what those ones should be. Let's double check. 28, so 2.8. Okay. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to change our output up here. So our output on desktop, the min height is 128. So we're going to do output min height 128 pixels. And then we have the previous output should have a font size of 3.2 rem, and the current output font size went up to, I think it was it 50 something? 54, 5.4 rem. Okay. Just so that we can see, I'm going to throw some numbers in here. Okay, so and then if I scroll down to 540, okay. So on desktop we get a little bit bigger, and that's the other one. Does the calculate change the logo? 32. Zumba has started.
You haven't noticed?
No.
I do it all the time. Yeah.
So I think those are the only changes between the desktop and the mobile. The only other thing we need to do is handle the hovers. So on hover, these are the colors that the buttons will be, and the theme. We'll worry about the theme later. But let's do these three, and then we will be done with CSS. Okay? So I think we have some specific colors here for hovers. So I like to put my hovers up by the wherever the button or whatever it is defined. So I'll do it up here because it doesn't need to be based on any media. Those are all the media queries that we had to do. So the rest of it, because we made it work on mobile, works fine on desktop when we just kind of adjusted it. Okay, so here we're going to say button hover, and that is going to be background bar key background. Was there a hover color? Oh, you know what? It didn't give us a hover color, so we have to go define those. Dang it, that's dumb. I'm just going to put this here. So up at the top under root, we're going to add some colors here. I don't remember if this changed. Is this as close as it gets? I cannot scroll in and out. Okay. Four four oh 7 2 44872. Okay, they do change. So we have to have a different shadow color too on hover. And then we could have it where if you push activate, the shadow goes away. So it looks like you pushed it. So we won't do that though, but you're welcome to if you want to. It'll look funky because it will like push down but not go down. So we'll see. All right, so on hover we're going to change to white and that one. So in our variables, go find where you have your key background right here. Okay, and we're going to say key background hover, and that one is FFF. And then key background or key shadow hover. Oh, it's this. No, it's not the same. Okay, it is B0A393. Okay, I'll put these next to each other so you can see them easier. We'll put all the hovers right here. Okay. So I'm going to do hover there, hover there. Let's figure out what those colors are. Oops. Oh, that's funny. Okay, and then the sorry, get these. So these are all the new ones that you need.
You have about 5 or 6?
6 of them.
Okay.
Do you want me to copy them and paste them into Slack, or you got them?
Yeah, I'm done.
Copy and paste them?
I'm just trying to type along with you.
Yeah, I try to keep up,
I was copying and pasting though.
yeah, I got that one. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, and then on the different themes, I'll figure out the hover colors for the different themes. And I'll add those later for us, and I'll give it all to you. So you have hovers on the different themes.
Awesome.
But I didn't pull that in yet, so. I only did the main theme. So yeah, if you go to Slack, you can just pull this guy and paste it in the engineering projects channel. And then once you have those, you go use them in the down in the grab them. Okay, so let me know when everybody has the hovers. Got it? Okay. Ready? Okay, head down to where button hover was that we started. And we're going to say background is button, or let's see, is it key background hover. And then the box shadow is going to be the 0, 4 pixel, 0, 0 shadow hover. Key shadow hover. Okay, so if I save that, and I come in here and I hover, then they look fairly good. I gotta change that. That will bug me.
Hey, did you show him how to do the dimmer?
You just push the switch.
He did? He know how to do the dimmer? Okay.
You know how to do the demo?
You just push and hold.
Yeah, did you do it?
I didn't dim it, but
Oh, yeah. You did? Oh, did he know how to do it?
I think so.
Okay.
yeah, you just push and hold it.
Okay, so.
I just never had the patience to do it, so I just turned it off.
Oh, you
Yeah,
turned it off, okay, gotcha.
yeah.
The lady came in today.
And she came in and gave us a.
Just
Oh.
so you know, I saw you in the dark. That's my
Dark,
daughter.
so I'm gonna show you how to use a dimmer.
Oh,
Okay, man, thank you.
that's why we went.
Got it, yes, you did.
That's interesting.
There you go. Alright, so feels like the line height. Something's off with the buttons. See how they're like floating a little bit high? I don't like it, but whatever. We'll leave it for now. Okay, so then we're gonna go down to the delete key, the reset key, and the equals key, and also add a hover on all of those. Okay, so we'll say delete hover, and I'm just gonna copy these two fields, put them in here, because you just need to add hover to the end. Okay. Resets the same way on hover. And equals is the same way. Oops. This one. Okay, so now if I hover, I get some different colors here. I'm gonna try and see what it looks like if I do an activate, just so that I can.
When I hover over equals, it disappears.
Uh-oh. You have a bug somewhere. You don't need to add this, because I'm just going to see what it does, and if I like it or not.
Just not a semicolon. Oh, wait.
No, that's not what I want. If I do. How hokey does that look? Super hokey, right?
It's the shadow on top.
Yeah. And it puts it inside the button. You could also do. That's too much. I don't know if I like that. So you're welcome to do that if you want to. That's how you would kind of make it look like it's been pressed. But as we push things and it changes up here, then it will be enough, I think. I don't know. Anyway, that's it. That's all the CSS we're going to write for this project. Woo-hoo. Let's write some JavaScript. I'm going to stop recording